All right, we're gonna call capital improvement program meeting to order for, what's today, is the
November
9th of December. Did you say November?
Did I?
I thought you did.
I probably did.
December 9th. All right.
Donna Danis.
John Decker.
Susan Levinson.
Charlotte Fife.
Okay. All right, so hopefully
So before we,
other people flow in.
Okay.
Just get my tag up. Before we what?
no, nothing.
All right. All right, Ellen said she couldn't be here tonight. Worksheet. All right, we should look at our minutes from the last two meetings. Does anybody have any?
Two?
Two meetings worth of minutes.
You know what? I did not look at the,
October 24th.
I
I
did
probably
not.
looked at them last time, but
November
I
18th.
showed up late last time, so we kind of just didn't even talk about minutes.
I think I did go
I
through
thought we
the,
did talk about minutes for a minute, but
Talked about them before I got here, but we never approved them.
oh,
Huh. So we've got the October 24th and November 18th
Right.
to approve.
yeah, I know I went through these before.
October 24th ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did, because we did make changes.
Why
Oh, you
would
guys
we
had changes for those?
You'll be so proud of me. I changed, I changed provided to provided.
Oh, nice.
I know, you'd be really proud of me. And
So, okay,
Ion
so
to Ian.
do you know what lines or whatever? Do you have your notes?
Yeah, well, they're on the 24th. They're actually, we approved them. It says we approved the 24th
Oh,
with those changes.
no, it says draft. October 24th?
It does say draft, but the minutes for, oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at 9:30. I'm wrong.
The 18th minutes should say that we reviewed and approved meeting minutes from the 24th.
And
They
it
don't.
Doesn't.
Because
No,
it
I'm
wasn't
looking at-
recorded.
The end of September, sorry.
Sue,
yes,
did you review the minutes from the 24th?
yes.
Okay, so we have 3 out of 4 people who reviewed them.
Yeah, I mean, I reviewed them for tonight, but we didn't, so last time we didn't.
Oh, I'm thinking we can
Yeah.
just
We can just
formally
go ahead
vote
and
on
do
them.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
vote on them.
All right. Any changes?
No. Nothing.
I'll make a motion, we approve the CIP committee minutes of October 24th.
And
Okay.
we'll second that motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Now on to November 18th.
Did everybody review the 18th?
Yes. Anybody else?
I'll make a motion, we accept the capital improvement committee minutes of November 18th.
I will second that motion.
Right on top of that one, make sure.
What's that?
Right on top of this one. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Or is it, no, I also, but are you,
I'm sorry, I was yes.
you were yes too, okay. All right.
I can vouch for her.
Okay. All right, so minutes are taken care of. Good, we've got that official business. All right,
So, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
You
no.
have a question?
No, no.
I was gonna say, since we have Jen here, we should probably start with Jen. So,
Are you ready for me?
Yes.
All right.
Come on down.
Jen Phillips with the Library Trustees, and I have a small update that potentially could have a rather large impact on what we had discussed at prior meetings. One of the things that Jean mentioned at our walk-around was an ADA provision that both sides of a path require handrails. So this kind of started to get caught in my brain about how we would do this. When I use the terms right side of the building, left side of the building, I'm referring to, for everyone at home, as you look at the library, right side, left side. Okay.
Perfect.
One of the concerns I had with putting the path on the right side of the building was this requirement that we have handrails on both sides, because that could impede the need to get trucks back there. And as I was researching this, I came across on the government website, ADA Accessible, or ADA Accessibility, the IBC, which is the International Building Code, that is the life safety code that is tied to the ADA, has a provision within it saying that if you cannot provide an accessible means of egress from to a public road, you can designate an area for assisted rescue. So the exact wording is, steep terrain and other constraints can make it difficult to provide an accessible means of egress from building exits to a public way. The IBC permits an exterior area for assisted rescue immediately outside the building exit where a connecting accessible route to a public way from the lower level of exit of discharge is not practical. So when we did the ADA garden outside in the back, the path is ADA compliant. It does not have handrails because it does not exceed a 5% grade. So it is compliant.
So that's the 1 in 12, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is compliant. The path is compliant, the patio is compliant. I have a question in to our code enforcement officer asking if that patio would suffice as a, what is the exterior area for assisted rescue. In other words, can we designate that, put signage there, signage inside the building, and I think maybe even signage up at the parking lot where the trucks would enter. That way it's accessible, you can get, we might be compliant already. All we have to do is put up the signage.
Yeah.
So that is, that would take this off everyone's plate for this year. We still need to do something about that other side, the left side of the building exit. It's still a trip hazard, it's still not compliant. But that's gonna be more work. I do have a call into DES, or I called DES and asked, you know, what's the process for starting that? And it is to get a certified wetland scientist out there to see if it is a protected wetland area or just kind of seasonal runoff. And once they have that designation, that's when we can figure out, all right, what the next steps are with that. The person I spoke with at DES said, by my description, which admittedly was over the phone, it sounded like a minimal impact on the wetlands project. So that is next year. I wouldn't even be talking about that to do now.
As far as that whole door?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So we could put that whole door side off till next year.
Yes. So to recap very quickly, the back exit might check off our ADA compliance. I just have to find out if that's the case from.
It may have to be a certain distance from the building.
Well, actually, no, because the picture that they had, it was literally right outside the
Really?
door.
Wheelchair.
Yeah, there's a wheelchair spot. So I think we're actually in a very good shape to
That's great
yeah.
news.
So it's a matter of figuring out, does this check all of their boxes? Because you never know. There could be a surprise there or somewhere in the federal regulations. And then getting the signage up, which that's easy-ish.
So, this is great. So Jen, who is it that you're waiting for the final blessing from on that? assisted?
I literally stumbled across this morning.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I sent over the language to Dale
Yeah.
saying, this is my understanding of this, admittedly a layperson. Does this, you know, will this fly? And once I get an answer back from him, we'll know a little bit more.
Okay.
But to everything I read, I think that, you know, it sounds like it fits. According to the pictures, it fits, so.
And what I looked at too is, so if it's the 1 and 12 slope, you don't need handrails for that. But if it gets greater than that, that's where you need handrails.
So these are kind of multiple different things.
Oh, no,
That's
I
a
was
flat
just-
area, we don't
Right,
have to
right.
worry
No,
about it.
I was just thinking about generally speaking,
Yeah.
the egress.
Right.
moving
Once we
forward
start
and whatever.
moving up that hill,
Right.
that's where we would need handrails.
Right, but as long, if we stay within the 1 and 12, we don't need it.
Okay, but,
But there could be areas that, so we potentially would have to stay in 1 and 12 for a part, and then have a part that goes up, and we can have handrails on that section.
yes,
And
so,
it
and that
could
would be for the left side of the building.
Right,
And
it
that's
could be
something that we're
for,
saying could get dealt with next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
right, no, I'm just talking about
Yeah,
the slope and the handrails for other points in time.
Yeah.
Because we do have
Yes.
some ARPA money that we could potentially, we need to kind of decide that this week.
Yeah, and then that's one of the reasons why I was looking this information up, because I wasn't sure what bucket we fall into as far as, you know, what the restrictions on that are, you know.
So you're really waiting for Dale Sylvia, the code enforcement officer, to get back to you on this, and maybe as a courtesy, we should let him know that this is an urgent
Yeah.
matter for, I'm sure he's plenty busy, but since you want to use those ARPA funds.
And again, I just sent him this email today. All right, I don't want anyone to think I'm throwing anyone under the bus here.
no,
no, we
not
know.
at all,
Okay.
not at all.
I know that,
Yeah.
but that would be great news. And even if the patio had to be, that exists now, had to be extended a bit more, or, you know, for some reason, that would still be a heck of a lot less than
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't,
pulling that whole
So Jen,
project.
how does all of this impact, like, the desire to repave the parking lot and the second parking lot?
I don't think it affects those at all.
There's still that desire to do those?
Oh, gosh, yes, the parking lot is falling apart.
Yeah.
And, you know, I will reiterate that I am just one trustee. I have not had a chance to run any of this by the others. I'm speaking on, you know, from the library's perspective, but not on behalf of the other trustees. My personal feeling is that we should treat the library parking lots along the same time as we deal with that ASU Grange parking lot across the street. It just, if we're doing paving of parking lots, it would be cheaper and easier to get it all done at once. It seems inefficient to pave one, send everybody home, and then the next year, it's the setup that costs money.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, whatever that means for timing, I mean, we'll just kind of hold our breath and keep, you know,
So does
praying
it-
over the lot that it doesn't crumble
Yeah, so
more.
does it make sense still then, if we're thinking about that whole left side for next year, does it make sense for paving next year as well?
That doesn't necessarily have to be paved either, the ADA thing. It could be that, whatever.
Just that one small.
So we're talking about a couple different things.
Yeah.
The,
What- I guess I was right.
the lot, the old police station dirt area, that's what we would like to see paved.
Plus the lot that's in.
And the actual lot that's in the front, just two paved spots. The ADA path that would kind of border along the wetland would have to be permeable.
Yeah,
So that's the gravel pave product that I've researched.
part of which Steve and team can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, okay, so we could consider that next year. And then, so that's all one project. But then also, what about, as you're looking at the building on the right, the ramp there?
That is something that is on the trustees. We're taking care of that in the spring. And that was actually another concern I had with the right side of the building. Since we are doing that next spring, we don't know what there are unknowns underneath that, pier, where the piers are. We might have to rebuild that retaining wall. And if we had activity going on to do an ADA ramp on the right side, while we're trying to get that ramp replaced, I worry that I don't like multiple things going on at the same time unless they are designed to work together. Because that's when you find surprises.
Yep.
Bad ones, usually.
And I can tell you, having gone through that area closely with the facilities committee, I would just be amazed if you didn't indeed need to
Yeah.
replace that retaining
Yeah.
wall. I know you're gonna have to.
There are parts of it that are crumbling.
It's not
Yeah,
a
it's-
horrendous job
No.
to do, but
Yeah.
it's gonna have to be done.
So I think that,
Yeah,
Thank you.
She did good.
You done good.
She really did. And can I just put one more point that we were talking about is in terms of paving the parking lots. We know what we want to do with the old police station, that needs to be paved. But do I understand you correctly that you're also thinking that we need to consider that whole package area of the old fire station, the old town?
to me, it just makes sense that if those are on the plate to be dealt with,
I don't think they are, but
Right, it's
Oh,
not.
really?
That one wasn't.
It's not on the.
oh, okay, I
we
thought it
should-
was on, all right. I didn't realize that, so I had thought, I was
There's not
thinking,
any plan for,
it was recommended by the facilities committee, but we haven't dealt with it.
oh, okay. So that was a misunderstanding on my part. I thought that was on its way, and I thought, well, if we're gonna do that one, we should do this. I had it
What we
reversed.
talked about, though, is that there's problems caused by that.
That is
Yes.
true. There's a,
The question was, do we actually take care of that whole area and parking lot if it's just gonna still continue to
Right.
be impacted
yeah.
by the
and
runoff?
I think a lot of that runoff is actually coming down the road from 156.
Yeah, we looked at it.
You know, if you look at the slope,
Yeah,
that's really where it seems to be coming from 156.
Oh, that's interesting too. I hadn't even considered that. But I do know there's a lot coming from directly across
Right.
the street as well. But yeah, so it's a real confluence of,
Yeah, and you can see where the erosion channel is at the edge of the parking lot and how it leads directly to that kind of, what we call Lake Blaisdell after a heavy rain, by the book drop. It just collects there.
Yep.
So clearly, the drainage issues need to be dealt with, and paving, I mean, I'd like it for it to be done sooner rather than later, but, honestly, it doesn't make sense to me to do the library's lot and then come out the next year and do that lot. If these are intended projects, it's more economical to have a big paving job
Yeah, I
done.
mean, wherever we can save money.
Yes.
Is always good.
and it is hard. It's like a Jenga puzzle again.
It is.
Having to put these things. But I think we really should look at that paving project as a, larger
yeah.
problem at that intersection, which is a problem intersection too.
So,
That's all state road though, too, so.
yeah,
Yep. I think that's why we've kicked that can down the road for so long, because it's
Well,
formidable, but,
it involves external people that,
which is always, yeah.
so if this is, if Dale says, yes, this will work, and we can move forward, then there's really no financial impact this year. You could
Right.
use ARPA funds.
right,
but-
if we decided to set ARPA funds aside.
Can you do that?
We can, we
Okay.
have to,
Have to be committed.
we have to
Encumbered, right?
commit them
Yeah,
by basically at our next meeting.
okay.
So we just need to know what we need to commit.
Yeah, and that actually means having a contract,
I-
right?
I don't know because you get 2 years to spend it. So I don't understand that piece.
But I think you,
I-
my
You have
understanding
to
is
have
you
at
do
least
have to have a contract.
you at least have to have quotes, I think.
Well, so I don't know,
Some budgeted amounts and determine roughly what you wanna use.
Right,
this
well,
for. Use
right,
it
that's
for-
what I'm thinking.
you don't have to
Budget,
assign-
I don't
ARPA
think,
might be different, ARPA funds
Right.
might be different. Because I was thinking of budget. Our
yeah,
budget funds, you
Right.
have to have contracts, but
Right.
maybe with ARPA you
I,
don't. But Ellen should
I
check.
don't know for sure,
Yeah.
but my understanding is we just kind of have to be able to appropriately set it aside, knowing how much it's gonna be or whatever with quotes or something, and because there's 2 years to spend it afterwards.
Yeah, okay.
I
So-
think you need enough information to submit, if it's anything like
Right.
we had to do with the same funds.
Right, yeah, because it would be the same funds you guys did with school,
We had to write a budget for it, if you will, and. we had to
basically a
submit.
budget.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then they
so,
had to approve the use.
yeah, yeah, so it has to be a good, legit use.
What about tearing down the old firehouse?
We're getting income there. That's a fundraiser.
So we're in the rental business?
We're in the rental business.
Remember that old building coming up, CIP, many years ago.
Oh, on the old fire station? Yeah. To repair it or burn
I
it?
think Tom Sweeney, he was a civil engineer, and I believe he felt like it could go away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It could go away.
Sure, it could go away,
It
but
should go away.
right now,
It's
Interesting.
really a liability.
Okay.
too much.
So two actions are waiting on Dale, and then you guys figuring out the use of the opera funds.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, we just need to figure out how much to put aside or whatever.
Yep.
But for us
I-
here, it's really back in your court, it's not really.
Yeah, I
Right,
mean,
exactly.
that's, and I
Yeah.
pushed that can over to, you know, basically Ellen was gonna talk with Steve about that and kind of,
Ultimately, I think
Come
this
up with
is
something.
good news.
Yeah.
This is,
Yeah,
this,
no, I mean,
this
it's-
is positive, and it would be lovely, to have us accidentally comply, bring something into compliance that we didn't even realize we were doing. It's a nice
Right.
bonus.
right, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
it doesn't make me feel good about whoever said we were not in compliance.
Well, it was simply, we designed the garden
Yeah.
as ADA accessible.
Oh, right.
It
No,
just
that
didn't
was
occur to
luck,
us that there
yeah.
could be a dual use.
Yeah. No,
I
that's-
think
that's
that's
great.
the
That-
best
that's-
way to put it.
That's luck,
Yeah,
but, yeah,
Okay,
all right.
luck counts.
Good
Yes.
research, yeah.
I'll take it.
That's
Oh,
fantastic,
good,
Jen.
yeah, so.
Yep.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jen.
And
You
if
got
nothing
anything
else, it does give us some kind of plan in the meantime, because it is a little bit scary to think of how heavily used
Yes.
that lower floor is by both elderly people and very, very young people, and we really haven't.
We
don't
couldn't
have a plan to
leave
get them
without
out.
Charlotte making me nervous again.
Well, so wait a minute, if that's our assisted exit
From the lower level.
from the lower level,
Uppers.
and you still have the upper people get out
Yep.
the front door, okay, I
Right,
got
they
it.
can get out the front door,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you have to have multiple
But-
means of egress from each, store, so.
But those big, that door in the back, right out onto a
Yep.
level area.
Yep, yeah.
Right,
Yep.
that's, right, it's
Yep, it's
level
perfect.
and everything, it's
Yep,
just, you can't get past there without assistance.
yep.
Oh, that's good.
So,
at
but
least we
that's,
get-
as long as that's legit, then that's
Yeah,
great.
if, hopefully, that this checks all the boxes, we get the signage up and check that box
Up
off.
the stairs, yeah.
Yeah, we had to do, for work, we had to have, cause we were on a second floor, and we had to put we had a handicap person, we had to do this special carrying wheelchair thing that
Yep.
kind of, we did a practice with it and
Yep.
everything.
That's good, that's excellent. Before you leave, can I just
Yes.
confirm how we're gonna communicate to Dale and to Ellen, or who is gonna communicate to them?
I have already sent him an email. Okay, so,
Us probably can.
I mean, I can touch base with Ellen tomorrow.
Great. Just, and as I say, I'm sure Dale's got a million other things to do, but I'm sure if he understands that this is
yeah,
urgent.
Yep.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in and telling us.
No,
And thank you for coming in and bringing us good news.
I know, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah. And thank you for all the goodies you baked yesterday.
oh,
too.
you're welcome. Thank you for all of your hard work, Charlotte. It was a lovely event.
You did a good job.
And as always, you know where to find me if you have
We know where you live.
questions.
You drive carefully though, huh?
I will.
We'll see you again soon.
I'm sure you
Not too soon. Take care.
All right, what's next? so. I mean,
Has
is
anything
there
changed?
anything that we, right, so, nothing's really changed, I don't believe.
I have one request.
You have one request?
Yes. We've had some recent meetings with some HVAC providers, and at a meeting in November, end of November, we'd asked Palmer and Sicard to come in and sort of put together a phase plan for us for that HVAC system. So I believe, I don't have it yet, that's the problem, but I think it should be, I'll leave it to you guys to decide, do we think it should be transparent, at least put some placeholders in there? The best that I can estimate, I would say it should be under description, HVAC system, and under funding source, it would be capital reserve / warrant. And for the 2025, which would be next year's budget, we haven't finalized a warrant article, but I believe it would be in the area of about 150. And then 75, 75, and 75 to follow for placeholders for phased replacement of the, not all of the system, but those areas that require upgrades.
So that's in addition to the air
So
handlers?
150 this year?
50, 25?
I'm saying 150 for the budget that's coming up for next year, so
Yep.
for 25, 26. And then the air handlers are at 142,555.
Right, okay,
That,
so,
to me as well, that is the same amount that we paid for the ones that we just did.
mhm.
So I'm wondering if there'd just be a somewhat nominal increase next year, just given costs rising. Maybe that should be more like 150.
So what's that? You're saying it should be 150?
So I'm looking at the roof air
Air
handlers.
handlers,
yeah.
And the money that we spent, we just expended for the ones that we put on new was 142,000. This is 142,555, and this is an estimate from the
Yeah.
business manager. But I feel that we might be safer to make that maybe even 145 or
Okay.
147, because you know costs are
Yeah.
increasing. And that was reinforced for us when we met with Palmer and Sicard. So maybe even up to 150 there.
Okay, so for 2025, roof air handlers gets changed to 150.
Yes. And if we come in under it, great.
Yeah.
And then just trying to understand the HVAC again.
And then, and given your thought, John, maybe it's just a flat 75 in the 25, 26. Because we are,
For the HVAC,
right, I'm trying to get it as fast as we can, but we don't have it yet.
so 75, 75.
Yeah.
So just those 2 years.
I'd probably bring it out 3.
Okay.
And that's
So
I would bring it up.
25, 26,
So,
27?
all right, so we need a new, we would need a new line for that,
Yeah.
you're saying?
So, I'm
Yes.
sorry, Sue. So 2025 is 75, 2026 is 75, and then what's the 2027?
I'd lay it in flat at 75.
Okay.
And then if we find out that it's higher, then, we're gonna obviously do what we
Okay.
have to do.
Wait,
but-
Got it.
But we still need another 150 in the 2025, so,
To raise it up.
Well, I had
Under-
initially 150, but to John's
handler.
point, we're putting the air handlers on already.
Right.
So I think
well, and
that,
that's why I was kind of trying to figure out,
Yeah,
is
no,
like,
you were- that was a
how
good-
related are they? Because I know they're
Yeah.
parts of the system,
Yeah.
but they're different pieces, and that's,
well, what happens with the air handlers is they distribute everything. So all
Mm-hmm.
the issues that manifest, the air handlers,
right, they just,
yeah,
They're
spew
big
it out
fans.
everywhere. But we know we have continual glycol problems.
Mm-hmm.
We have the 2 new boilers for $250,000 that we use grant funding for. But we're being told now that the system that we had on the wall, that was a filtration system, you have to keep the glycol and the water mixture in the closed loop to certain percentages, and you also have to be always combating the iron in the piping, because it tends to oxidize and it fouls up the glycol, which becomes thick, picks up pieces of metal potentially in the system, and then circulates it right through your burners. So we have
so
now.
is all the piping bad?
No, not all this piping is bad. But you exacerbate your problems with your piping if you allow this acidic mixture to course through. So we are awaiting some phased plans to determine what should we be replacing. We've already replaced 40 feet, 39 feet of piping. We've replaced the boilers. We've done a lot of valves. We've done air handlers. And I'm not an expert on this system, so I'm waiting for them to
No, I
come
know.
and say, hey, these are the original to the building systems. They typically have a 20-year life. You're beyond that. And this is how we should phase our funds in to ensure there's no further surprises.
Right, so I'm assuming that the glycol mixture thing is being monitored.
We have added a SOC filtration system to the system. We have taken samples, or we have told people to take samples of the current acidity of our glycol. That is currently being processed. And then we're going to have a chemical company come in, and they're going to add the proper additives to keep the pipes, you know, from leaching, if you will, and also to keep the proper mix and the proper acidity. And then in the spring, the plan is to reflush and redo the glycol again.
Yeah,
So
'cause,
that's
yeah,
another
it was-
17, that was
Yeah,
17,000
because it was all
and
just
change.
redone, you know, that's why I'm like,
Yep.
something's not right if we gotta keep doing it.
Right.
That is our, and so with
It's the
all good
definition of
faith.
insanity.
Right, the board has sat back and, not sat back, but with all good faith, you get reports, but you're saying, hey, we replaced that last February, we put in new boilers. When the new boilers went in, we did another $4,000 and fresh glycol, and now the glycol again is in this
Yeah,
condition.
that's,
And
that's,
according to Palmer and Sicard, that can be expected if you do not have a water filtration system in place, chemically and filtration. He doesn't believe there's metal coursing through it, but he does believe what he called sludge is coursing through it in the form of thickened glycol.
so you put the filtration system inside the closed loop,
You put like a sock, they call it a sock
So it
filter.
pulls all
and
the-
that's picking everything up, that will be changed.
Yeah.
And so this system is now gonna be constantly will be monitored, and then the chemicals will be added, and we'll get it so that they would prefer not to change the glycol out until the weather is warmer, because they wanna be able to flush with cold water, and they can't do that right now.
yeah, all right, so,
Okay.
so it makes sense that they would have to filter on that closed loop, and that should keep, well, it should pick up any of the things that, the metal and that junk and whatever.
Right, so it doesn't get stuck. you
But the
know.
water itself should also be?
It's a closed system, so it's not as though the water is doing anything anywhere else and
Right,
into our
but the
into our
water has to
systems.
come into it, so if, because some of it somehow evaporates anyway, so it's gonna add water, but they should be checking that. It shouldn't be evaporating that much,
Right.
but the more water that gets added, so if there's a leak someplace and you're not knowing it, it's gonna add more water, and
Yeah.
the
They tell
percentage will
us-
get,
They tell us that there are no leaks, we've had it, we have people under contract that are coming in and checking it, they've been very good about coming in and responding, but we wanna get in front of it. And so when people kinda say, we've had a lot of feedback, and people are saying replace the system, but the system essentially starts at a propane tank with underground piping, goes into a building, permeates everywhere with pipes, all kinds of pieces, and this is something you don't just replace
Right.
in a week, you know? And it doesn't need to be replaced, but we have had pressure issues. We've been experiencing some issues with this system, so, and they are trying to figure out what the cause is.
yeah, pressure would indicate leak too, if there's pressure issues.
Or having recently worked on it, and then air getting into the system, and so then
Yeah.
having to re-bleed it, so we've gone through all of that. But the big point of glycol is that it keeps your pipes from freezing, so you wanna
Right.
keep that mix where it needs to be, so that we don't have any blockages due to freezing.
Oh, yeah, I mean, technically, you don't need the glycol if it's always running.
Yeah, that is a true thing.
Hey,
Yeah. Thanks.
So we're doing our best. We have kept that system under maintenance every year, but when something starts to go awry and you're not sure where it is, you can't throw good money after bad trying to just
Right.
figure it out. So we are looking for a phased plan just to upgrade
Okay, so,
components.
all right, so what do you have in 2025? Nothing?
In 2025, we have the 150 for the replacement of the remaining air handlers.
Right, no, I'm talking about just the HVAC piece,
The HVAC piece, I think we should put
2026.
probably 50
27,
there and go 50 through 25, 26, 27.
Oh, I thought you
50,
said
50, and
75.
50?
Sorry, 75 for those,
Yeah.
yeah, I apologize.
All right, I thought you said 75 earlier
Yeah,
too, but that's
Sorry, I
fine.
got 75 right in front of me, sorry.
So 75 for 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it may be that when we get this full analysis from multiple companies that are looking at it at this point, maybe our warrant article will be higher, so just full disclosure.
Yep,
So that's,
Yeah.
and you're planning on doing that out of capital reserve and warrant?
yep.
Yes.
It's a full-time job, running this HVAC system.
Yeah, seriously, right?
My sympathy.
So one of the things I did was I took Ellen's spreadsheet and she had added that breakout for us, right, at the bottom, for
Oh, yep,
reserve fund, bond, taxation, and unreserved fund balance. So I took those numbers and I said, okay, of the things that are projected for each year, what percent of that would be coming out of, what percentage of that would have to be funded by new taxation? And what I came out with was, for 2025, about 70% of it, 78% of it would come out of new taxation. Now, we just, based on talking to Jen, we may be pulling 100 out, but to a certain extent, we're putting 75 back in based on what Sue just said.
well, not for 2025.
Yes, she said.
Oh, no, oh, yep, no, we only added a few.
No, she said add 75 for 2025, 2026, and 2027.
Oh, I wrote,
Right.
all right, so I put 26, 27, 28, sorry.
So it's about 78% in
Okay.
2025, and then each of the rest of the years, like 26, 27, it's like, it goes 78, 42 for 2026, 50 for 2027, 32 for 8, 65 for 9, and then 68 for 70, for 30. Now, you know, we also kind of have to look at how do we split out, like the stuff that Sue just said. Some of it would be capital reserve, and some of it would be warrant. So for this purposes of this exercise, do we maybe say, okay, if we're gonna do a combination of capital reserve and warrant, let's just for now say it's 50-50.
Fine.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, just so you can, because
So we
one has a tax impact and one theoretically
Exactly.
does not.
Exactly.
Right, so
Yep.
anything we do out of warrant, even though we asked to raise it, we're not appropriating it additionally, is coming out of unassigned fund balance.
Correct, yeah. So I can go back through this sheet and kind of spread it out that way, because again, that's gonna impact those numbers.
Yep.
But kind of my purpose of doing this was, okay, if, as a CIP committee, we wanna try to level out expenses, you know, is that fact that it's higher this year, should we be looking at 2025? Now, maybe not, because there's some ARPA funds and stuff like that, but we should flag that.
Can you just, I missed in my notes, I had 78% for 2025, I missed 26.
42%.
And then you had 50 and 27, 32 and 28,
Yep,
and I missed 29.
then 65.
And then 68?
Yep, and I can send this back to you guys, so it's clearly marked and not confused with Ellen's, but
25, you had what percentage, sorry?
78%,
78.
yeah. So I'll split it out, I'll assume 50-50. Are you comfortable with that, John?
That, well, I was gonna ask how much is in that capital reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's more of a,
because the one thing that's funny about that is that 2028 has the 2.9,
Building,
and yet, I guess
you
just the
don't-
way the mix of it is, it's not tax impact.
So
Yeah.
additional building space for inside
So
walls.
building repairs, it's 212.
You don't have capital reserve even on here to like put money into it. Oh, no, that's because it comes out of the,
If you're if you're doing
Unfunded,
it via
yeah.
a warrant article,
Right.
you're drawing it from.
right, but the money comes from the,
The fund balance.
The fund balance, yeah.
Yeah, so you're not raising new money.
Right, okay, that's why it's not on here,
Right.
yep.
Yeah.
So it's really the mix more than the amount.
But I kind of feel like just for planning purposes, the 50/50
I think
is,
yeah.
it's as good a guess as anything, right?
Yeah, so when you look at like
Well, I
warrant
think
article
it-
grant or whatever for base radio replacement, you'd propose 50/50 on that.
Yeah, and I mean, like for the HVAC we just talked about.
Yep.
You said capital reserve and warrant, so that it would just be 50% of the 75, 50%
And
of the
it's an estimate, right?
It-
Yeah.
Exactly. And again, for my perspective, it's for the purposes of looking at the tax impact over time, right?
Right.
Right,
And,
I mean-
and do we want to recommend that something be shifted?
So, yeah, you should probably be thinking about that, well, wait, when does, so you wouldn't get, how does that work? Because the year's different, so are you talking about the fund balance from last July or whatever? June, July, end of school
So I
year?
think we all work, well, we're a little different because we end June 30th.
Right, right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
You're
wondering,
ending in
right, no,
December.
and I'm trying to think about you,
Calendar
the
year.
school
Yep.
and the money,
Does make
because,
it hard, yeah.
because of how you would, because you're talking about this year's warrant article, so you either know how much money's in there and how much you would be taking out, because you don't know how much more you'd be adding next year.
Right.
So you should, I guess, kind of know what's in there.
So we get our financials at the end of June. They're audited, they come in August. We still won't have audited numbers, though. We were hoping to have them. So we
So
have
you don't
fresh
even
numbers
know
for
what
the
your
annual
fund
report.
balance,
We know that
how
our
much money's
fund
going
balance
into it.
came in at,
because it takes
bear with
that
me.
long.
It was
takes that long for the
1.2.
school.
It was 1.2, but then because we're a school district, you can't hold on to funds. So there was a law that came in place, I don't know, like 8, 9 years ago, so we did pull back 200 because we were shocked by the 1.2. So we pulled back 200, so 909 is what hit the MS-24. And that is what
Essentially went back, right?
went back.
Which
So
was-
200 was just held on to. That will roll forward next year because those are only 1 year impact, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the 9 coming back is what
The
influenced.
909 coming back is,
What influenced the tax rate.
Yeah.
right, because it's gonna influence it more than $1 because our evaluation is 800 and change. Now, next year, looking at the DRA website, we're looking at 1.2 billion if what I'm seeing there is correct. So that's a huge jump. I'm not sure why those
1.2
numbers.
billion?
I went out to if you go out to the New Hampshire DRA website and you go into municipalities and you look at the tax area, then you start to see the letters that are going out and they give you a valuation, and the number I saw in there was 1.2
For evaluation for
for the
Nottingham.
whole town.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Again,
Well,
I
is
don't.
that including the re-eval? And because we were at such a low amount that they projected we would be
That
up?
could be, yeah. We're gonna be going up tremendously.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't
It's been
know.
5 years.
I don't know either. I'm just kind of
I'm trying to go to that
hypothesizing
site
here.
right now.
What is it now?
'Cause I thought it was like,
848 or something like that.
and I'm trying to remember, don't quote me
not
on
a
this.
billion.
Please don't quote me on this. It was like, we're around 60%? I don't know. I don't know.
I
Is
mean,
what
that
it-
sounds
65,
plausible.
65 or something like that
In
kind
the
of.
sixties,
That's what, okay.
yeah.
So, yeah, don't quote us,
That's
there's
true,
no
but
quoting on
I'm
that.
talking about the valuation where they just add everything
Right.
up.
Yeah.
Right, but so if we're currently at, for example, if we're currently at 65%
65, oh,
of,
yeah.
and then they bump it up to 100-ish, then what's that give us? I can't do math without a computer anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's that, but then there's just that whole flat-out valuation, and there's a valuation with utilities and without
Right,
utilities too,
yes, and
right?
that's, right, and they're used for different pieces for different things.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, I'll try to find it again here, I'll log
Yeah.
in, but, yeah. So, I don't know how real it is at this point.
I know.
It's called,
Saturday.
I'll forget to plan.
Did you march in the parade, John?
numbers and stuff.
Nobody told me I had to do that.
I guess maybe there are a couple things I should have told you, huh?
I got a good picture.
Well, I'll find that.
Okay.
If I find it
Yeah.
before we leave, I will tell you. And then I'm trying to pull up the MS-24 because that had our valuation on it.
Okay, so anyway, all right, so you don't know how much money funded the warrant articles yet? Or you do?
We had, well, for the tax rate that just happened, I believe 70,000 was pushed over
Mm-hmm.
for the warrant articles, and 909 was pushed over for unassigned fund balance, and that was net of the 200 that we held on to.
Okay, so the warrant articles were funded fully,
Right, which,
And-
based on the March vote.
and it was, right, and it would have been how much ever went
I
into
think it
the,
was like 70.
you know,
So we need to look at all of that, and then we had a question around timing ourselves, like for the new stuff that was approved, has that pushed over into the balances yet? So we're pursuing that at our next meeting. So we have some questions as well.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find this now for the actual. 'Cause everyone feels
So-
like tax rates go down
so,
when valuations go up, but, you know, when your individual home value goes up.
well,
Exactly.
right, I mean, your total tax is relevant or reflective of how much the town spends, or how much is voted on to spend. But your tax rate itself, in theory, should go down because you're not going up, you wouldn't be going up as much.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But some of them fluctuate based on houses are rated differently. Or property,
be
I should say,
interesting. People will be
property is
screaming,
rated
right?
differently. No matter what, people would be upset.
I mean, a lot is 5 years. This has been a
It-
significant 5 years, you know,
wanna be on
not
the
like every other
select
5 years.
Yeah, so we
You're
had,
not.
Thank God.
if you just take a look, I don't know if everyone, like, the MS-24-R, this is what drove the tax rate. This is the third page of it. So our unassigned fund balance was 909, but that was net of the 200 that it was higher than that. So this ends up being the whole kit and caboodle of it, but we voted 200 from fund balance, and then, this much is now left, and that's what you've got in revenue. And these were our appropriations less our revenue, and that's our net assessment. That's what drove the tax rate this year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, wasn't the tax cap.
No, or the default budget.
Yeah.
But that's what people are
Yeah.
thinking, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
What are
Educate people. They believe that the default budget and the tax cap are
Well,
what
the
drove.
default budget and the tax cap have nothing to do with any of it, because the default budgets are what we're running on this year, and that's what we'll calculate tax rate on next year.
You and I know that, but
Yeah,
Mr. John Q. Public does not.
okay. So I can do this sheet, I can just kind of like assume a 50-50, And then you guys can, if you wanna
I
take
guess
a,
it's,
That's okay with me, because I mean, it's a guess,
Yeah.
right? It's a crapshoot.
yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, you can always put a note too, like assumptions, and just
Yeah.
that these are the assumptions.
exactly.
Give us something.
Exactly.
So it's
And-
just, it's those two items anyway, right? The
Well,
roof and the HVAC.
So anything that has a multiple
anything that
between,
has a multiple, yeah.
between a warrant article.
Oh, one says operating capital,
Yeah, like under the rec, there's, well, I mean, it's only
well, that one's capital
$29,000.
reserve fund and operating, so that's not new money technically.
Correct. Well, line 42, I mean, it's only 20,
I don't have line numbers.
well, rec, the walking path
Okay.
upgrade.
Oh, okay, oh, you're
So
up
that's
there?
warrant article / rec revolving fund. So it's 29.5, not a big number, but only a portion of that is gonna have.
Oh, so wait a second, so that's, I think that's this path out here,
Yeah.
and that, I'm pretty sure is coming out of ARPA.
Oh,
Is it?
oh, that would be,
I'm pretty sure,
so we have a question mark there?
yeah. I'm pretty sure that we said we could do that out of ARPA, because it shouldn't be out of rec anyway.
That's true.
Hey, John. If you've got, John, under administration, you've got solar power, and it's bond / fund balance, why wouldn't we also see bond payments for each of the years
Right,
after that?
Right, that would have been one of the ones that should have been bonded, if we were doing bond,
Yeah,
that should have been pushed, spread out over X years. How many ever we decide we would do on that one, maybe we just kind of missed that one?
yeah, we could just ask Ellen, because I thought she had looked at that.
Yeah, because we talked about those, and I think we only said the police department and the school were probably the only two that we actually saw with bond. But maybe
Well,
we didn't notice it said bond there.
yeah, because we did it for culvert replacement for Kelsey.
Ooh, okay.
Was any of that coming out of ARPA or anything?
No, because that's,
But wasn't there another source potentially?
yeah, there's some,
For the culvert, that doesn't come out of any highway funds?
so there's, I think that was, so this
Oh,
was
no,
just the engine.
wasn't the discussion that we thought the highway department could do it?
They might, yes, they
Yes,
might. be
yes,
able
we
to
talked
engineer it.
about
That's
doing
right,
some
yeah.
of, right, some of it in-house that we could do. So did Ellen say any of this stuff? In her email to us?
I mean, I guess,
Unreserved fund all right, hang on, let's see, what does she say?
Yeah, yes.
Here are the,
Unbelievably expensive.
in the CIP plan worksheet provided for tonight's meeting, I've summarized the funding source for all requests at the bottom of the worksheet. Focusing on 2025, since it will be the main topic for your recommendations for the select board and budget committee. Here are the detail of these totals: capital reserve expenditure, special revolving funds, 270,000, school air handlers, 142.
oh, so that
So wait a
has to
second,
change
why is that
because,
270 school? 142, there's Skip.
What the wind blew in. Hi, Skip.
Snowman?
How is it out
Did you
there?
have to plow?
No, I didn't do anything.
did you think the meeting was at 6:30?
Yeah, what time is it?
5:30.
Oh, no.
No. I'm like, I said,
I'm really sorry, I'm sitting at home.
Did you have a nice dinner?
I said, I'm pretty sure Skip said he would see me.
Now that you say that, I seem to remember something about 6:30. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Sorry.
So in the spreadsheet, we just talked about the solar power system, and she's got that listed as bond fund balance.
So, on her email, she's got unreserved fund balance.
Yeah, that's what I was just questioning.
118,000.
So should that just be fund balance? Which means there's no need for bond for
Right.
it.
Right.
Yeah. So change that to just fund balance.
I think so, yeah.
So that makes a difference,
Right, because then it wouldn't be spread out.
yeah.
That makes more sense.
Okay, grant funding.
5:30, look at that.
And we've got nothing for resurfacing the community center parking lot, huh?
No,
Are we just punting on that for now, or?
the community center,
Yeah,
the parking lot out here?
yeah,
I,
it just says TBD.
Isn't that left over from this year? The parking lot stuff?
No, this is
Parking lot for the library?
It says, no, this
we're
is
talking about
for
the-
here.
The parking lot out here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Even the
It says
library.
parking lot paid.
I think that was probably, it's probably TBD because it was probably after the library one. We haven't even, yeah. I mean, it probably needs to get, it's gonna have to get done at some point. Maybe we should do that instead of roads next year.
So she's got, in her note here, walking path upgrade 29.5 from rec revolving fund.
Right.
So on the sheet, it's warrant article / rec revolving, but here in her note. So I don't know if she made these changes and didn't update the spreadsheet, which, because she's got the same for playground picnic area.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be out of rec revolving. Franchise. I thought we were talking about the walkway coming out of ARPA, I'm pretty sure.
So what we're looking at, Skip,
Where's my other notes?
we had asked Ellen to kind of bring this out.
Yes, I have
by-
logged on to
To
that.
show what's taxable.
Right.
What's not taxes, right? Which she did, and then I took this and said, so what is, out of everything that we've got listed for each particular year, what percentage of it is net new? And so I was doing that to kind of look at how stuff is spread
Okay.
out over the years. But some of it is like, it could be like warrant article and capital reserve. So what we talked about, what I'm gonna do is go back to this spreadsheet and say, okay, if it's a capital reserve anymore, for now, let's just say it's gonna be 50-50, right? And then that will give us a clearer, hopefully a clearer estimate of what's taxable and what's not.
Right.
Okay, but it looks like there's some changes here, based on Ellen's email.
Right.
The other thing, quick recap for you, Jen Phillips was here again, and.
Tonight?
Yeah,
With good news.
with good news.
Oh.
So she did some research and on the IBC codes, which are the codes that are tied to ADA compliance.
Yeah.
And what she read and what she understands and what she looked at today is, as long as you have an assisted exit area, will be okay. And so the thinking is that back
Oh.
patio can be the assisted exit area.
Okay.
So she just found it today, sent it off to Dale to get his opinion on that.
Okay.
So we may be able to have that as our immediate, this year, we're
Right.
good, and then look at next year, redoing that whole side and paving the parking lots.
But we still need 2 exits, right?
We would still need to do that.
We have
other
one,
door.
but it's not ADA compliant, but at least the one would be, if she's correct
We would
about
do the
this.
other
and-
one next year.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I understand
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Just,
But yes, we would still need that.
but at least we'd have a plan, and and hopefully work with fire and rescue so that, you know, they would have a plan to get down and back there to get anybody who needs assistance.
So that was good
Sounds
news.
good.
So
We were
hopefully.
happy to see her tonight.
Yes, yes, welcome.
Let's hope the building inspector agrees.
I know.
I know, exactly. Yeah, and she was very clear about the fact that she just
Don't celebrate yet.
found
Yeah, right.
it was her interpretation, she feels pretty positive about it.
Right.
And there were some drawings that would lead, again,
Yeah,
neither of us are engineers, but would lead you to
Yeah.
believe that
yeah.
that would suffice for now.
Yeah,
Didn't write a price down.
I'm pretty sure it's a plus.
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Wait, let's see.
Oh, wow.
$6,200. I think is what we're looking at for, if I can read my notes. $6,200 to do the sidewalk from ARPA.
Something like that. That sounds
For
right.
this sidewalk.
This sidewalk.
Oh, is that all, really?
Yeah,
That's the quote that
which
she
is
got.
200 feet by 4 feet.
Right,
Wait, is that the walking path upgrade?
That's,
yes.
yeah, I believe that's the walking path upgrade on
What is it,
here.
how much is it?
$6,200.
6,800.
They have 29.5?
Yeah,
Yeah, they have 29.5,
but we were talking about the
Oh.
highway department preps it,
right?
it's just the paving cost. So if we get the paving cost out of ARPA, it was like $6,200.
They weren't also talking about this, what is it, the basketball area?
And
Were
that,
they including that? Or
that
this
was
is
not
just the
included,
path?
it was just the path.
Wow, okay, that would be great.
So that comes out altogether then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I don't think the library was more than 200 feet.
right, and the
The
library
walkway?
shouldn't be, but they don't wanna
But they
pave it,
can't
they
use
wanna,
regular asphalt.
I don't, I don't,
It's just not ADA compliant.
what, since when is asphalt not ADA compliant?
Is
They
it the
didn't tell me.
incline, like for
Huh?
slipperiness or something,
Yeah.
or?
I mean,
What's it have to be?
Don't,
The blocks or the pavers like she has out back?
or something that's not
Didn't they say it was some
slippery?
sort of
Yeah,
crushed,
it's some kind of,
non-slippery?
what am I trying to say? I can't think of the,
impervious,
Well, the impervious was something different, but
no. this is-
impervious will still freeze
It's
over.
grippy. It's grippy is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Some kind of grippy.
Well, asphalt's typically grippy, but
yeah, that's what, I didn't see in the
And it
things
has
that
to
I
be
saw, I didn't
permeable.
see that it couldn't be asphalt, but I don't know, I'm no expert.
I should be talking to Dale. And the other piece is if we do put it in your wetlands, it has to be permeable as well.
Because sidewalks are ADA compliant, and they're paved or cement or whatever, so I don't,
Cement, right, but that's not
but
asphalt.
no, a lot of them are paved too.
And they have to be permeable?
No, I don't understand that, that's why I'm confused.
No, well, this is specifically for ADA and for conservation. So we don't know. I mean, we have these questions, but
Right.
don't
And
shoot
it's
the
like-
messenger, John.
It's like,
most parking lots are asphalt.
right, yeah,
And so in the handicap zone,
right, and it's like,
It's pavement,
and then they
yeah.
put all those extra stripes on, and those make it really slippery.
Yeah, the blue paint, that's the difference.
Yes, now that
That's
is
a whole
true.
other issue. It's true.
It's funny the things you notice as the years pile on.
Oh, my gosh,
Yeah, right.
yes. Are you kidding? For
This is slippery.
You know, they talked about that when I took my motorcycle safety course way back when, about the lines are,
Yeah.
you know, when they get wet.
Yeah. Okay, so
Sorry.
Moving on.
we've updated based on, like Sue gave us a couple changes, and now I'm gonna take what I've done and kind of break stuff out a little differently, update it with what Ellen's notes are here, and then I'll shoot this back to you guys and Ellen.
That'd be great.
And then, do we want to, if it's the scenario where, like right now, where we're looking at 78% for this year, and then it goes down more or less 50%, do we want to try to look at how we smooth it out, or do we just wanna say that's
So,
what it is?
all right, hang on. Let's, from the select board perspective, for warrant articles, we figure that 10,000 for the police technology fund. Okay? The ambulance fund is 40, which,
Oh, that's no impact, right?
right, but that's no impact anyway, so I don't even know, is it even on here?
No.
No. Okay. Fire vehicle SCBA. I had this crossed out a couple times, I think. This was the one that we're trying to figure out the balance of what we had left. But we're around 20 to 25,000 or something, somewhere in there, so.
What is that you're talking about, John?
With the cap, the budget cap.
No, you're, what?
Oh,
you're-
sorry,
you're-
which one?
you're-
Are you
you're-
taking SCBA still?
That's the SCBA, yeah. So we're looking at how much we can fund these things based on available,
Okay,
That's out at 2026, right?
I think
it's, no, for every year, right?
so,
That's,
okay, so you were running down,
These
you
are the
started
warrant
running down
articles.
the list of what your warrant articles were.
yeah,
So this is going to be a warrant article, but you don't know how much for? Is that what you're saying?
well, we put it into the, cap, so that capital reserve
Oh,
fund.
Well, on the sheet, on the
Why is
spreadsheet,
there two different,
it says,
just says capital
it
reserve
says
fund?
warrant article grant,
right.
a
And there's-
CBA compressor.
Oh, no, I'm talking
replacement.
about the capital reserve fund itself.
oh,
So,
okay.
so where it says 125,
Yeah,
we can't put 125 there. We'll be lucky if we could put 25.
Where are you seeing 125?
So at the end of
the
fire
under
rescue,
ambulance replacement
Yeah,
capital reserve
okay,
fund?
for 2025, yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry.
I'm seeing
Oh,
it
the
now,
capital
way over.
reserve.
Capital reserve fund for
Kinda like towards the bottom.
125 every year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 125. But you're saying that we can't do that, John?
there's, yeah, we're never gonna have enough money to do that.
So we probably won't put 125 in.
No, we're talking about maybe, my numbers kinda crossed out because we kept talking about that one a lot. And that's the one that was, we figured would be basically the balance of whatever we could fit in there,
But let me ask you the question.
perspective. Yep,
They're looking at putting in 125. So from a CIP standpoint, that's kind of what they're looking at, right?
okay, right, I guess.
What,
Let's
yeah, so,
recommend.
Yep.
so what, if choices are made to make it lower, seems to me like that should be done by the budget committee or who.
Okay, so, and that's
So for
fine.
planning purposes,
That's fine.
we
All right.
assume.
Yeah,
Yep, okay,
And-
I'm
and-
just saying from our perspective
Right.
of looking at it, from the select board,
yep,
these are what we came up with.
okay.
Yeah, so there's two,
So this
there's
is
two
more
things,
of-
there's the planning tool and then
Right.
there's the
Right.
operating
Right.
budget.
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly, and I'm just,
So at the
Trying to-
125 though, that must have been picked in order to meet the purchase of something I can't see on my phone here.
that 300,000 in 2020.
Yeah, for the ambulance replacement?
350, sorry, yep.
Okay.
No, the ambulance, wait a second. The
What, the-
ambulance replacement usually comes out of
Let's try this.
the
Oh, here we go.
ambulance one, right?
Yeah,
The 350, so
and that's 350 in
1, 2, 3.
2028.
that's
They were
five,
talking-
that's
they were-
500,000, so
They don't
100
even have-
each would be good.
Hmm?
100 each would be good in those years. I don't know how much.
To
That's-
lower it to
So that-
100,000 instead of 125?
I'm just looking at the numbers from the standpoint of buying an ambulance at 350, assuming that we've recently purchased something with that fund.
I think the ambulance comes out of the ambulance fund though, right? That, I think, is the fire,
Isn't that the supplies?
the fire vehicle SCBA fund.
Oh.
Just says capital reserve fund, but I think that's SCBA. Yeah, I believe that is should be the fire SCBA fund. So, and there's not even a fire truck requested until like on this thing.
Yes, sir.
Past 2030.
Oh, yeah, special reserve. Okay.
So,
Which is one of the reasons that we as a select board, were talking about being able to put that one down, because for this year,
Yep. Okay.
so as far as the CIP plan goes, what are you suggesting?
I think I'm okay with leaving it with the 125 request from the CIP plan, because it probably would be smart for us to do, because we're gonna need, well, I think the next thing up is the tanker. I believe at one point I don't know, I looked at all the fire trucks at the parade, I was like, holy smokes, do they all fit in a firehouse?
Oh, yeah.
It was impressive, it was impressive. But Skip, you think we could go down to 100,000 with your?
I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of what I see on the chart here for the CIP. I don't know
Yeah,
if
I'm
it's
just-
zeroed out or whatever,
Yeah,
but 4 years at 125 would be $500,000. So then it's a
And then-
case of whether how you want to,
And then how much do we have in there now, right?
yep, and what other, I don't see,
So,
let's see, fire.
that's the thing we were gonna put on
They,
there,
they
right?
have a major piece coming in 2030, according to this, and the ambulance that I think we just bought.
right.
Right, we just have so we just bought an ambulance,
Right,
so we have 2 ambulances operating now.
correct. And the chart that's here, that was provided to us, is not, doesn't go out further than 2033 or whatever, I guess. Yeah, so, but there is another major piece in here that they wanna get. Doesn't say what it is.
Yeah, I believe it is a new tanker, would be the next thing that's up. Fire and rescue vehicle fund. No, so we must have taken an ambulance, so. This shows beginning balance at 1/1/23 was 309,000, we put in 100,000, we withdrew 300,000. So it's down to, so maybe we did take the ambulance out of it, so maybe the ambulance does come out of this as well?
Well, you get the ambulance on a separate line though.
Yeah, I know, but that might only fund,
The supplies and stuff.
yeah, I'm not sure exactly
Well,
how that works.
I'm trying to see what the warrant article is from last time. Cause it's the same every year, right?
So-
Yeah.
So 2020, I don't have a 2023 book, or
I do.
2022 book.
I get 2023 right here.
No, 2023 is what I'm looking at.
Oh.
I mean, 2022 book for the withdrawal,
No. Well,
for the warrant article that it would have been against. Unless it's in the minutes.
So I guess my observation is that there isn't much, oh, wait a minute.
so the Article 10 was to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $40,000 for the purpose of purchasing the necessary fuels, equipment, and maintenance to run the ambulance and billing services,
Right,
and to authorize the withdrawal of 40, so
so
you
that
got,
takes care of the 40,000 one.
yeah, but, so then, well, that's, Well, no, because the 40,000 is the
That's the-
SCBA.
SCBA,
Right,
yeah.
well, no, that's the ambulance one.
The ambulance. No, no, no. The CBA is one thing, and then ambulance,
Is 350 out
It's a
in,
compressor.
in 2028 is when the 350 for ambulance replacement is.
That's, so that middle line that says SCBA compressor replacement,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a whole.
that is to buy a new compressor.
right.
Right,
So
not to
that,
outfit the ambulance.
That's the warrant article grant.
that's not the ambulance 40,000 warrant article.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, I thought that you said it was.
No,
No.
no, I thought you were saying that the 350 was where the supplies comes up.
No, the supplies,
Supplies is not on the CIP sheet.
right, supplies is not on the CIP sheet, correct, because it's an
It's
offset.
under 10,000.
Right. You all know it's like 40, but it's
It's
an
40,
offset.
but it's offsetting, it's just,
Yeah.
So,
So what's so ambulance replacement in 2028 is 350, and then fire and rescue capital reserve is 125 for each year, so what is that?
right, so that is, so the 125 fire and rescue is, that should be this fund here on page, I was just looking at my page mark is right there, no, that's not it. Page mark. Right there.
What
So
page
on
is
page 67, so it says, fire and rescue vehicle fund, so that must include the ambulances as well. So the 350 would come out of that,
Yep,
so
okay, so again, what's the 125 for?
that's the warrant, that's the
for, like-
reserve fund itself.
to pay for that
So
ambulance.
you're
For the
putting,
ambulance.
right, you're putting it in and it pays for fire trucks, ambulances,
Right.
that SCBA thing on the 40,000 SCBA can actually come out of that as well, the
Yep.
way that warrant article's written.
So the question then is, we're double counting if that's coming out. So you're putting 125 in, 125 in, 125 in.
Why you-
Well, you're-
It's fine, because it does say capital reserve,
Right.
so it's no tax impact,
Right,
so that's fine. But you're saying the SCBA,
should probably be coming out of that because it's called Fire Vehicle SCBA Fund or whatever. We added SCBA into that like a couple years back,
oh,
I believe. Right,
Well,
actually.
but I think that was to renew the SBA tanks and everything themselves, the masks and the whole system. Not, I think we're quibbling
It's
that,
not
but
maintenance, right? It's to actually replace the.
that was actually replacing, yeah. The compressor,
Well, that's just
seems like an extraneous thing. It's certainly something they need and probably should have been in the list. But I don't think they needed it
Hang on,
until
let
they
me
figured
see.
out the issue.
So helpful.
Okay, right here, Article 5, page 21. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to be added to the Fire Vehicle SCBA Capital Reserve Fund, previously established. So that SCBA, I would assume that that SCBA compressor should be able to come out of that same,
yeah, cause she's.
The
she-
wording
She-
is, wording's okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Well, but she
has
has
it-
warrant article grant.
right, and it
Right.
should be out
A
of,
separate line.
it should be
Okay.
capital reserve. Unless, I would assume it would be capital reserve. That would make more sense
Be
to
all
me.
three, you're saying?
So,
Could be.
that should be capital reserve. The ambulance replacement should be capital reserve.
Yep. And then the capital reserve fund is the same.
Right,
It's warrant.
that's just warrant article itself,
Yep.
so.
Yep, exactly.
All right, okay. All right, that makes sense to me.
Now, the thing I see here, for what they submitted anyway, we only have one large purchase, which is the ambulance in 2028
Yeah,
for 350,000. So the amount of 125 will get you that plus more, okay?
Right.
And then you got the 40,000, as you're saying, could be
Pulled
taken out
It
of some
should
of
be pulled
that,
out of that, yeah.
okay? Not a big amount, but
So
that leaves you
that's
with
three-
basically 100
390.
grand.
That's 390, we gotta, and we only have like 100 grand in there right now.
Right.
So if we're talking about a tanker.
Sometime
in-
later,
In like 2031-ish.
but we don't see that on the.
Right, I know.
Okay.
I know, but we don't necessarily have to see that, but we kind of have to prepare for that.
Right. Basically, I'm saying the amounts look okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I
If you
agree
wanna
that those.
whittle, okay.
Right, I agree those numbers
Yep.
seem reasonable.
Well, and the fact of the matter is that they could get refined next year because we have new information.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But right now, they seem reasonable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have like 114-ish in there. So that was that was basically a year ago, but we didn't take anything out of that this year, and it would just be. No, so, actually, it should be, did that pass? I assume that passed. So it should be 200 and something, because we put 100 in. So we have an extra 100 in,
Oh, okay.
plus interest.
That must be monetarily huge.
Depends how those trustees are investing it.
Oh, by the way, you were talking about the asphalt.
Yes,
I have here an ADA checklist for existing
that's what I was
facility.
looking at
Yeah, and
on the
this was,
interview.
this is based on 2010, but it's dated 2016. I think it was updated
Yeah,
somehow.
probably, yeah.
So, just as an example, is the route stable, firm, and slip resistant? Yes or no? Repair uneven paving, fill small bumps and breaks with patches, replace gravel with asphalt or other surface.
Yeah, so,
I'm not sure.
right, that's why I was confused about the gravel stuff too, you know?
There's no way gravel is ADA compliant.
Yeah.
Well.
It's not a
right,
wheelchair.
Right, I mean, it's that, and that's what I'm like, why?
They both seem to be familiar with it, both parties, when we were at the site.
Talking about using the gravel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know,
It was
but
some
it's-
sort of compacted, different type.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, if it's a, yeah, different.
Yeah,
type.
it was
here it
it
says-
wasn't loose gravel.
Gravel. loose
right, no, I
gravel,
know it's
right?
not loose gravel, but still, it's like, you would think that
You need four-wheel drive to get up
asphalt
it.
would be better because it's not going to wash away.
Right.
I don't think the other stuff would wash away though,
Uh,
the way that it was described.
Well, it's
I got the
gonna,
impression it was something other than what I typically envision. That's just my
Isn't it
impression.
more, wasn't it kind of more like that, what do they call it, the reclaimed tar or
Oh, I
whatever?
know
that
what
they're
you mean,
using
yeah.
in some of the
That's
places?
what he was,
the
that's what Steve was kind of talking about, but
millings, I think they call it.
But I think John has some, and I have some at my house that are plastic, and they're honeycomb grids.
Yeah, I sent
Yeah.
Steve a
Oh,
picture.
I know what you mean.
You know,
I
and
have
if
a
you put them
picture.
on an angle, you know,
Yeah.
the
The mud, or-
yeah, it'll wash over. but-
Right.
But I think you can still get grip with the things along the way,
well,
but,
I'm
Right.
not gonna even pretend to
I
be
did
a surface
send-
expert,
Yeah.
that's for sure. I
Yeah,
but if we can live with
And I
it for a
think we
year,
were
let's
also
figure
kind
it
of
out.
confusing it with, if we had to do it on the side that was the kind of wetlands area, that might call for something.
So just, if,
This is the stuff
yeah,
I sent Steve a picture of that.
Yeah, but-
That picture.
is that what it looks like in your yard?
No, that's just, those are just samples
Yeah,
of it.
okay.
It's not being used.
I don't think we're
It's
there yet.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
don't need to
it's
worry
just-
about
I
it.
mean, that's my
of
point.
what
That's
the
kind of
product-
like-
It's what the product looks like.
Types of, oh, yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah, they use them in.
not
packets and
highly
stuff, yeah.
relevant to the discussion that we're having tonight.
Yeah.
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 Moving on, and it is 4:07, John.
I know. Well, let's move on. So all right, so what else we got?
Well, we still have, we gotta, so I'm gonna make all those changes we discussed, and you guys can take a look and, but I think we found some good stuff here.
Good stuff, yeah.
That will
Yeah,
impact
I
it.
think so too, it's more promising.
Yeah, but then I think the other thing Ellen put on our list was the, report for the annual meeting.
Yes.
I'm sorry, for the town report.
So she sent along the last year's.
Yeah.
I forgot we had to do that.
So,
Wanna, like,
We can take a
dedicate
look at it
meeting
and
to
kind of-
that? Yeah,
yeah,
probably
I mean,
so.
my take on it is like, I think it should be more about the process that we go through and, you know, this sheet and then the conversation about, you know, yes, we've got this sheet, but again, let's look at what's coming from new taxation versus everything else, and how does that look over the next 6 years?
I nominate Donna to write the first draft.
I will, actually, I will.
And I second that.
All right, that
No,
sounds great.
I will, because, I just think it's gonna be, I think the things that were here from last year were too granular.
Right, it's just
Yeah.
kind of
Oh, yeah.
boilerplate. It's been boilerplate since the beginning, I think.
Yeah,
and-
Yeah, it could be more educational, that's for sure.
Yeah. But it's also, it's gotta alleviate that fear of, oh God, look at, you know, next year, we're gonna get hit with taxes based on 1.29 million.
Right, and we all have to panic and scream at one another. you know.
Exactly,
So this came from the town report, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Is the actual CIP there?
Yeah, the CIP's in
Yeah,
there from last
Should
year.
be, yeah.
Okay, I thought it was, but
Yeah,
when I
it's-
copied it, I only got the 2 pages, so, okay.
Yeah, the CIP's on page 109.
Yeah, I got it. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, so the report starts on 109, goes to 110.
Yep, and then,
And, I'm sorry, this written report starts, oh, it's right here on 109, shows you
yeah,
the page.
and so that's,
And then the CIP is on
111.
page 111.
okay.
Yep. Oh, I'm sorry.
So as long as that's there, yeah, I agree with you, I don't know.
Yeah.
This should be kind of the process and how it works its way out and
Yep.
what kind of we do.
and I am sorry that we didn't have a chance to have Alan, you know, come and speak to us directly, because I think he came to the select board, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other
Helpful.
question I had,
bad.
the thing that Ellen shared with us, the report that he put together that had the 1 to 3 and the 3 to 7.
Right.
Was there anything on that that needed to get added to this, or did she factor all that in?
That's why I wish we'd
Um,
here.
The way it's described here, and I think it's pretty accurate, that the town has hired a contractor to
Yeah.
review the immediate repairs that are needed and secure bids to have repairs and maintenance completed. If that's what he's really doing, then it's not CIP.
right,
Okay.
And
right, and we're
when I went
doing-
through that list-
Some of that stuff is small, some of it's bigger.
Yeah.
And so I think the bigger stuff,
Well, that was
Very
what I was questioning, was
right.
there anything
Mike.
big
But-
that should be in here?
but we, you know, a lot of that stuff comes out of the other,
the departments.
the budget for the maintenance.
Oh,
reserve
right.
fund.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
absolutely
right.
does, but there are some things in
There's
here
some
that
things
should
that-
be.
Right, and
on
we
here,
asked
and-
for more
and
information
one
on some of that
is-
stuff too,
He
so.
felt the old fire station was a priority.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
that's
did.
interesting, okay.
Right.
So, what
Right.
department owns that?
Good question. Skip, good question.
Town
The
administration,
town
right?
administration would own it, yeah.
And is it on their list?
We haven't,
On their CIP list? I mean,
no, we haven't, it's not,
So-
right now, we're.
so we
right
haven't-
now-
we
Right
haven't-
now, we're getting income from it.
Well, and so that's, so I wonder
How much
if,
are we getting?
I don't know.
so I wonder if that's one of its distinctions, because that's town administration, select board.
Mm-hmm.
Has, even though that's a recommendations of his, has the select board determined
We haven't
that that's a
determined that.
priority
It's not
enough
a-
that it should
hasn't
go
been
on
a
here?
priority yet for
Okay.
us to put that on
Okay.
it yet.
Right.
Right, we haven't gotten to a
That makes
point to
sense.
do that.
I'm looking at his report dated October 26th.
Hmm?
I'm looking at his report dated October 26th, so he does address the,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was, you know, it's
It
a
was-
preliminary thing, but it was pretty good in terms of prioritizing. And indeed, a lot of the things are, you know, like fixing a doorknob or a door, you know,
Right.
no
And
big
like-
deal. But some of them, you know, he's a contractor that we hired for his expertise to.
Right.
right. I mean, there was, one thing was doing the bench at the library, and it seemed very expensive what was on there to redo the bench, but
It's done.
is it done? It's already done.
done.
And I'm sure it didn't cost what he estimated.
No,
The
because
the library
because
took care of it?
the town helped with some things, and then they had to have some pros come in because it,
Because
it
to
was
power
dicey.
wash it or whatever?
Moving it, you know, I mean, it wouldn't be good if the monument got broken, right?
Oh, no, not the monument bench. I'm talking about the
Just
the
the
wooden
bench, the
bench.
seat, yeah.
Oh, the wooden bench.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't, yeah, I'm not sure what you're
yeah,
referring
the
to.
wooden
Front
bench to be,
bench.
To do what?
what does it say in there?
Rhoda's bench,
Routine
me?
maintenance?
$300 to
Rhoda's bench?
$500.
I don't know.
Oh,
is it
I think it's Rhoda's bench.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must be what you're talking about, right? The Rhoda Capron's Memorial
Is it,
Teak Bench?
yeah, the teak bench.
300 to 500.
It's,
I said
To-
here, preserving wood helps prevent rot.
right, 300 to
But that
500.
was, that
Clean
was
thoroughly
done
and
this
apply
year,
a protective
So it was
oil
already
stick.
done this year?
and not for that price.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So the only big thing.
So he just put that on the list, probably after it's been done.
Okay, but the things that he's got
Should
on
be
the
done yearly.
report that are the bigger amounts are, under the SAU, he's got a new parking lot, that's 30 to 40, paving
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
parking lot,
right.
30 to 40.
And that's
then-
where Jen was getting.
Yeah, that's where
And
she
we
was
haven't
headed.
put it on a priority list yet.
Correct, and then the other is for $12,000 for the recycling center. Did I just see that?
I think we should refer to that building as like, it's, I mean, the SAU, that's just part of the school district, and it's not a
It's
school
not,
district
right,
building.
no, I don't know why,
No signage.
Yeah.
yes, it's
That's a
the old town hall,
building.
it's the old town hall.
And then we're in the Grange, Pawtuckaway Grange, for Pete's sake, put signs up.
Yeah, so the only other thing that he had that exceeded $10,000 was
Yeah,
the
that's a lot.
siding, fascia, soffit, trim at the.
That was the power
transfer
washing of it?
station.
Or, oh, the repairs of some of
Repaint
it?
to prevent
talked about-
moisture. And again, so that's $13,000,
Yeah.
he's got that in 1 to 3 years, but again, the BOS has to,
Right, and
Decide.
and that would come out of that,
building maintenance.
building maintenance.
Yeah,
It's not,
yeah.
it's not a, so it'd be like if we decide to do something with a parking lot, that would be something we'd probably wanna get on here, but we haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, tearing down that building, maybe, depending on how much that we
Would
think that,
cost,
right.
Yeah,
Well, we look at it as kind of as a liability, the way the back
Right,
was.
and we're still worrying about the back, you know?
Oh, so that was my question too, is what are we thinking about? Because there's $100,000 for the community center back. So what else is happening back there? for
I don't know.
$100,000?
Do you wanna go back there and look?
Oh,
I
that
thought it had
building?
been
I
cleaned
saw
out,
that
hadn't it?
recently, it looks fantastic.
Oh,
Back
it's so
there?
much better.
Yeah, it's,
Hey, well, so the last time I went in there, it looked worse than the previous time I had gone in there, because it was just really messy, but I think it just depends on what's going
all the
on.
walls are down, last
Yeah.
time I saw it.
Yeah, I think there
all the
still was
old
some of that
stuff
bathroom stuff hanging and stuff like that last time I was in there, but, and we could take a
Well,
field
we
trip
could
if
take
you
a
want.
field trip down the hall.
Oh.
With our masks on. But yeah, so I didn't know what the $100,000 was for, if it's been cleaned out.
Yeah, no, there's, so
maybe-
there's more of like, I'm looking for the right word. Basically, weather tightening it or what kind of thing, sort of.
Like, is it leaking?
No, it's,
Like putting up plywood over the windows or something?
I don't remember specifically.
That's
what
all
it
right.
was. But it had to do with like, yeah, just sealing it or up or something like that.
I
Or
think
something.
that happens when you do construction, you open things up and then you just
Yeah.
need to make it tight before,
Right.
for the weather while you're working, till it gets
So.
permanent.
Yeah, until we know what, yeah,
So, but no decision has been made about
no decisions
whether
made.
to use it or not,
Right.
but it's cleaned out.
And I don't know, I'm not sure how far cleaned out it is, but we can go take a look.
Take a tour.
Outdoor covered patio?
That's on the rec thing, right?
Well, it is out of Marston, but I mean,
Huh?
it's
That's,
kinda cool if you move that out to Marston.
Marston
that's-
had some
which- what are you
plans,
talking
remember
about, the
those
outdoor-
long-range
on-
plans?
Has nothing to do with this, I'm just saying that,
oh, okay, I'm confused.
Sorry, John.
Just saying.
Outdoor covered patio for what? What are you talking about, Skip?
The building that's out there, with the
Oh,
metal
oh, that's
structure
what-
and everything. If we're gonna save it for something. it could
Outdoor
be
covered
outdoor
patio?
area.
Okay, now I got what you're saying. All right.
Very large.
Now I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Sorry.
Like, where is that coming from? All right,
I,
anything else that are we
much
good for
it,
today?
I think we're
Skip,
good.
you got lucky?
I can't say anything.
Skip.
We're
Skip,
wonderful.
Skip, Skip.
I can hear you.
So when do you guys?
I probably shouldn't do that either.
Right?
I think we gave you the net of what we discussed, only we spent 15 minutes with you and an hour and a half on the rest.
There you go, there you go, that's about right.
Skip, so go ahead.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Wait,
Oh, what?
next meeting?
Oh, yeah,
next
yeah, yeah,
meeting.
next meeting.
When do we need our next meeting?
God. Christmas is coming.
When do you guys have to finish up with the
The budget?
budget?
The budget technically in January.
End of
I mean, we're
January?
basically,
End of January.
no, no, not the end of
Middle?
January.
I think the hearing has to be like the first.
First quarter?
Quarter of, the first piece of January. doesn't it?
Yeah, something, it's
the second
fairly,
week.
Oh, so
I don't know the date
We're
exactly.
just making this.
we should kind of wrap this up quickly.
Right, we
had
should
said
wrap,
December
right,
Yeah.
As a target.
right,
We're doing
right,
okay.
we,
Right.
right, we try, right, our goal was December.
Yep.
So,
Next Monday at
that's fine, we could do 5:30 next Monday.
5:30,
Well, I'm really sorry, I
16th?
can't do Monday or Tuesday next week.
Sunday?
No, but you're gonna put together a document.
Well, if we can do Wednesday or Thursday before the budget committee,
Um,
Oh, I could
I
do
could-
before the budget committee.
I could probably do that.
Thursday, we're
Next
talking the
Thursday.
19th,
Date is
right?
that,
Yeah.
the 19th?
The 19th, yep. And meet
I
at
could probably do that.
5:30 on the 19th?
yeah.
What time is that?
We'll call you.
Alright, I gotta get my, where's
Yeah.
my, hang on, gotta get the right notes together. I'm getting my notes mixed up, my meetings mixed
Oh,
up.
I-
That one,
I
that
don't
one.
know.
I think, one thing that could help it, is, if, I'll update the spreadsheet, send it out to you guys, I'll do a draft for the town, report
Awesome.
out to you guys, and then if you guys wanna reply one-on-one
Okay.
to me, I can incorporate changes for by the time we meet again.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Donna.
Yep,
Did you send one to me last time?
one more.
One of those spreadsheet things?
Well, I just took Ellen's, it was in Ellen's
Yeah.
email when we got it yesterday or the day before or
Right.
whatever, and I
You just did it, you just tweaked it.
Tonight, I didn't
Okay.
send it out, so I
Alright.
will update and send out.
Actually, I'm gonna leave
I
this. in
couldn't
my
print
folder.
hers out.
No, I couldn't either.
You know, I'll tell you,
It was gobbledygook.
The update is
it gets
really messy.
weird if you, so I find that if you download it first,
Yeah.
you can typically do it, but sometimes
No.
things don't,
I did download it.
and
It's-
it's like
it was
weird, it's like
gobbledygook.
some documents don't come across. I don't understand how that
I
works.
tried many times, and it just wasn't working for me, so I have no idea what mystery was.
Alright, I'm gonna leave this in my folder.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn until December 19th at 5:30.
I will happily
December-
second that.
December 19th, 5:30.
And I'll try and remember the appropriate time.
Alright, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
I
Aye.
tickler on my calendar to send you.